100 light years across. Let's put it that way. 100 light years as far as the diameter is concerned of or actually the length of our galaxy. Within that 100 light years, there have got to be so many stars and so many planets, and many of them in that Goldilocks zone that could, sustain life out there. It would be too provincial for us to even think that we are the only life force in even our neck of the woods, I believe. So I think people are waking up to that fact, of course, and that's why they're so fascinated with shows like your own and paranormal, topics, and they need to find out more information about what their own feelings are. I believe they're being woken to.
Oh, yeah. And, I one of the things, what I like about doing the show, later on we can talk about, like, the magnetic field. The things like a lot of people don't realize. They don't realize how much it has been changing. If you go back to, like, 95, 97, the magnetic field was only moving an inch or two a year. Do you realize how far it's moving now a year, the magnetic field on this Earth? How many feet a year it's moving?
Really? That's fascinating right there. Yeah.
We're talking not feet. We're talking huge distances now a year. Enough, put it this way, that they have to constantly, all the equipment in the aircraft have to be recalibrated on a regular basis, because otherwise they're going to land. Well, they're not going to land at an airport. They're going to land wherever, because that's how far off it is. And I'm wondering how long it's going to take before, the ducks and the geese and all the birds that fly, south of the winter start going the wrong direction. When that starts happening, then we better, start believing in whatever God or gods there are out there, because I really think, again, I'm going to go back to, if you got a few more minutes, I would like to get into something.
Sure.
Okay, I really think we're on the verge of, not Al Gore. I mean, he had the right idea, but he didn't have the right idea. I think with the magnetic change, we're about ready for a magnetic flip of the poles. We don't even know, the scientists don't even know what will happen when that happens. Are we going to have major storms, major winds in excess of hundreds of miles an hour coming through the cities, destroying our cities and destroying, civilization, taking out all the electrical grids? Is that going to happen? I don't know, but I mean, we're getting close to finding out. I mean, when the magnetic is moving not inches but major feet. I think the last I was reading, and I could be wrong, I think it was like 30 feet a year now that it's shifting. Not an inch, but we're talking a lot. How long is it going to take before the poles flip? And that's what I'm scared about.
And there's archaeological studies, and that this magnetic flip or the magnetic sphere of the planet has drastically changed over the millennia as well. You're right. And the issue is there going to be a catastrophic event if that happens like overnight, or is it a slow kind of thing that everyone adjusts to as it happens or not? That's a big if out there as well.
Well, it could be slow at the start, and then all of a sudden it could go really fast, where it just all of a sudden one day it decides to flip. Now, I'm trying to think of that one movie, but remember that one movie that, it started getting really cold and it started snowing, and the snowing didn't stop, and the temperature kept going down and down. Oh, God, I can't think about it. But it was done basically from the book that Whitney and Art Bell wrote.
Oh, yes, right.
And
the coming global superstorm, maybe.
Right. And they made a movie similar, off of that book. And it basically, it could be like an overnight thing. When it flips, it could flip. So one day, all of a sudden, it could be raining, and the rain doesn't stop. It just keeps coming and coming harder and harder. Or it gets so cold, all of a sudden, it starts snowing and it doesn't stop. and the temperatures drop, really fast. I mean, how long could a civilization last that way? I mean, there's a lot of things in the paranormal that you can go, from ghosts to what I'm talking about right now, to UFOs, to Bigfoot, little people running around. That's what I like doing this show.
Exactly, and that's why people love to listen to the show as well. I think it's fascinating subjects that we can talk about with our guests and have call-in answers and questions and answers, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, like I said, you did a really good job the last couple of times you were on. You have you're developing a listenership, and that is really good because the people want to hear what you and I have to say. And, boy, now everybody's going to know how I think, and that's really scary.
Well, they should know how you think. You've got a lot of life experience and deep thoughts to share, and that's exactly what people like to listen to.
So on this Sunday, what are you going to actually be talking about on your show?
Well, this Michael Beers is quite an interesting fellow. He is, for the last 40 years, been into potentially, well, not potentially, but mainly Bigfoot studies. And he is a documentary filmmaker as well. As a matter of fact, currently he is working on a documentary film about Ron Moorhead, who is one of the big Bigfooters out there, scientific folks who go out and as a matter of fact, Ron Moorhead was the gentleman who recorded the famous Sierra Sounds, they call it, of the Bigfoot, making large, long howls, and then
I had
some kind of a language.
I had him on my show.
There you go. Very fascinating gentleman. And he's a good friend of Mike Beers. And matter of fact, I understand that Mike is, at the end of the month, going to meet Ron Moorhead at the International Bigfoot Festival, which is in Eastern Washington this year. So that's going to be a big event. I understand Ron Moorhead will be there. Bob Gimlin will be there, of the famous Patterson-Gimlin film of the Sasquatch that everyone calls Patty.
Oh, yeah.
So he will be there along with many other speakers on the subject of Bigfoot. And so Mike is going to tell us about his experiences out in the actually kind of southeastern part of the state of Washington, well, actually south central as well, by Mount Adams, where he has for years developed what they call a habitat or habituation project that he says he has contact and feedback with Bigfoot. And not just one, but potentially families of Bigfoot, where he brings small gifts and apples and some food, and they have been interacting with Mike Beers over the years. So he is going to be telling us about that and whatever footage he has been able to glean over the years in that regard. So that's going to be a fascinating program, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
When he gets all the details out there of what he's been doing.
Wow. And just like me, you keep coming out with heavy guests. So, hey, I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. Boy, I really felt lousy after the medication from the doctors yesterday. So, I mean, I'm surprised I actually made it this long here tonight. But, I mean, once I get my mouth going, Michael, it's really hard to shut me up.
Oh, you're on a roll tonight, Gary. Thank you for having me on as a guest tonight. This was, we covered some great topics tonight. I hope people will enjoy it and also tell their friends about the archives so they can listen to them later as well.
Oh, yeah. So you want to listen this Sunday to Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer. You can find us on TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio. or even speaker radio, or you can even find us on www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Now, on the apps, guys, I want you to do me a favor, hit like. And there's a reason to that, because, I see all these numbers of people that listen, but, when you hit the like, then I get to know who you are, as a person listening. And, hit follow. If any of the apps says, hey, you want to follow the show, again, click that. It's important. And tell your friends about Night Dreams Talk Radio, and share us on your media. Help us grow. At this point, I do want to take us to a few radio stations. I had a chance to go national twice so far with a couple networks. Things didn't work out, but one thing I sat and realized afterwards, I fund this show out of my own pocket. So, I don't have to, do what a network actually tells me to do. I can pick my own guest. I can take the calls, good or bad, that come on, and I don't have somebody screening the calls or sending the calls over to me that screens it before they get to me. That's the way it should be. And you know what? I'm going to have another advertiser on, but it's going to be only one commercial per show. I don't want to clutter up and do a 3-hour show where you're only listening to 2 hours and an hour of commercial. That's not going to happen here on Night Dreams. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to me. And, I started out this, as I told Art Bell, as a hobby. But now, I'll be honest with you, my average day to run this show, to work on the equipment, to book guests on, to, host the show for Michael and for Kevin, I'm averaging between 12, 13 hours a day just to, put out the content for you guys to listen to. So there.
And we appreciate every bit of those hours you put into it, Gary. Thank you for all that work that you do for us.
Oh, yeah. So everybody, I want you to listen to, Michael on Sunday. Tell your friends. It's going to be a great show. If you're into Bigfoot, or even if you don't believe in Bigfoot, listen to it. It might even, change your view of it. With that, hey, Michael, it's been a great couple hours talking to you, and I want you to stay out of trouble. And, I just want you to hear this first before we go off, right?
Are you looking to take a real ride into the paranormal? Well, come on board to Night Dreams Talk Radio for the best in talk radio with Gary Anderson. If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Hey, everybody, it's been a great night. I enjoyed all you guys out there, Renee and everybody else that's been texting me tonight. I really enjoyed you listening to the show. Please, again, share us on your media. Let people know about us. It means a lot to me. And, Michael, I'm glad we became friends. I couldn't ask for a better friend, and I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Gary. I appreciate you as well. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, sir. Now I'm going to sign off with this song that it sticks in my head, and I'm not going to ever forget about it. And you stay out of trouble, too, Michael.
All right, buddy. I'm going to be heading up the mountain right now.
Okay, sir. You head up the mountain, and I'm going to head to bed. So, everybody, have a great evening.
Eastern Washington. And on his land, this man, he had a deep, dark hole upon. From miles around to throw their trash down in to see how deep the hole was and listen for its end. Then one day, that fateful day, they forced Mel off his land. They paid him off and sent him off down under with a plan. They hid Mel's hole and covered it up so ne'er it could be found, so no one would ever know what's deep down in Mel's ground.